Hi, my name is Emil Amos. This is my Thrill Jockey Deep Digs. Matmos Metallic Life Review. First up is Matmos, who I saw live last weekend, Constellation, which is a killer club here. These dudes are so likable. It felt like the crowd was almost like in their living room, like having wine and dinner with them. They were just so easy to watch, and yet what they're doing is super hard, and they're making it seem very effortless. These young men, everybody respects them and knows they're special, but watching them live was kind of hit me harder as like the whole point of it, because to me what's special about these guys is it's not like Gordon Lightfoot, where like you know, songwriting, the history of songwriting is that you're sort of trying to craft an arrival point, this final place that people understand eternally as sort of like a product in itself, which is a beautiful thing to do. But these guys, I feel like they more suggest potentialities, and that in itself is a really powerful MO. You're kind of you're not necessarily saying that this is where you should stop and sort of put a flag down. You're saying, we're going somewhere, you can come with us. Tortoise, millions now living will never die. The second record we're talking about is Millions Now Living by Tortoise, which was played for me in the Ohm tour van by Rob Lowe, you know, maybe 10 to 15 years ago, I guess, and I thought I understood what Tortoise was. I mean, I thought I had a cursory understanding, but then when I was listening to this record in the van, it just hit me how truly sort of lawless the band was. It was so exciting, the deconstruction. It feels like you're really abandoning, you're stepping outside of the teleology of rock music, and they were doing it so much before, you know, someone like me. Like it was beautiful to sort of get the full gravity of how much they didn't worry about being commercial. I thought that was really exciting. And I wish I knew more about what they were thinking at the time. I kind of feel like in the future, these records will play alongside like some of the greatest Italian avant-garde music from the 70s or something. It's gonna age better and better all the time because they completely abandon sort of beginning, middle, ending, rule-based thinking. They abandon the focal point of sort of how records are supposed to feel as they're bought and sold to us. So listening to this was a little bit shocking in the sense that they gave themselves license to issue a record that didn't seem to be courting any, certainly no sort of festival audience or whatever kind of normal buyer would be wowed by a banging chorus or something. They completely step outside of the basic rule book, and it was so exciting to hear somebody have the courage to just not really worry about the audience. Radian, Chimeric. The third record we're talking about today is by Radian, who's a band that Grails opened for 20 years ago in a train station in Vienna, like underground, this abandoned weird cave. And they basically blew us off the stage. We were young and silly, and they were wise and sophisticated. And they had this amazing upright bass player at the time that was sort of just playing through effects and doing all this like sort of tonal experiments as the drummer really just sat there listening and reacting, which was like, you know, it was very eye-opening watching how mature and sort of what good listeners they were. In a sense, I always come back to the Brian Eno thing of like your listening ability is much more important than your playing ability. And they were sort of flexing both at the same time. And I think that Grails sat there watching it and thought, you know, didn't even really think we would probably ever learn those lessons. And I'm not sure that we ever did. Maybe more recently, but Radian is a very special group of musicians that is, again, like Matmos and Tortoise, like exploring. To call it frontiers is to imply that there are like terrains that end and begin, but they're just exploring ceaselessly. And in a weird way, I think that all three of these records reflect the total fearlessness of Thrill Jockey and Bettina, and I think that Bettina's vision to put out these kinds of bands like incessantly is so sort of legendarily fearless that it's really amazing to watch sort of her passion guide her wherever she wants to go, and in the process she's defined this catalog of records that I think will age better and better all the time as people look back and sort of face a very commodified apocalyptic music climate. This catalog will stand the test of time really well. Thanks for watching my deep digs. This is Emil Amos, and the Holy Sons record Puritan Themes is out on Thrill Jockey.
What they had talked about into the chain gang I was shown was the most virtuous place to go. Lots of cash I heard was made until I saw that I'd been played. Didn't want to be a victim to the next thing, so you fall victim to the next king.
I'm gonna start this one over.